Nominate for You in samewerking met Finds for You bied 'n unieke aanlyn kliënteportaal vir geselekteerde gebruikers. Die portaalgebruiker kan alle boetes wat verband hou met die BRN-nommer van die maatskappy besigtig. Dit bemagtig die portaalgebruiker om hul eie boetes intern te bestuur met die hulp van Finds for You. Geregistreerde kliënte het ook die opsie om verkeersboetes van 'n maatskappy na die bestuurder wat die oortreding begaan het te herlei. Slegs kamera verkeersboetes uitgereik deur ARTO en waar die oortredingdatum minder as 55 dae gelede is, kan herlei word. Ons databasis word elke aand om 12:00 met die nuutste boetes opgedateer. Dit stel u as portaalgebruiker in staat om daagliks toegang tot die nuutste boetes te hê. Alle herleibare boetes verskyn onder 'n toegewyde blad vir die portaalgebruiker om na behoefte te herlei. As die gebruiker 'n boete wil herlei, klik op die Redirect knoppie. 'n Vorm sal oopmaak waar die meeste van die velde reeds ingevul is met die herlei inligting. Voltooi die vorm deur die laaste 2 velde in te vul, naamlik die Nominee ID number en die Nominee License number. Klik op die Submit knoppie. As al die inligting korrek is, sal die suksesboodskap verskyn wat die nuwe kennisgewingsnommer gee, wat begin met 05. Dit is nou die verantwoordelikheid van die genomineerde bestuurder om die boete persoonlik te vereffen, of deur gebruik te maak van die dienste van Finds for You. Die ARTO 05B sertifikaat kan ook besigtig en afgelaai word as bevestiging van 'n suksesvolle herleiding. Vir gemoedsrus verkeersboetebestuur, kontak Cornelia by Nominate for You of Finds for You vir meer inligting.
Goeiemôre en welkom by vanoggend se uitgawe van Stroom op. Is die tweede laaste een vir 2024. Ek skat as jy 'n vrou is in daai Woensdag storie, dan sou jy vanoggend vir die ou langs jou gesê het, nee my skat, dis Donalddag. Môre, dis Donalddag, die 19de Desember, so net na 7 hier op Stroom op. Môre Pieter Kloete, Willie Botma, Susara van Veenhuisen en Jacques Leroux, en ek sien as ek teruggaan soontoe, nee, daar na die begin toe, dan is Annelie van die kerk, Erika Assor en Edouan Liebenberg weer vanoggend in die eerste 3 plekke wat opdraf vir vanoggend se program. Lekker om vir julle te sien. Ons is amper klaar môre met die laaste program. Ons gaan bietjie met Davie Rood gesels môre en so 7:30 se koers gaan hy bietjie met ons oor die jaar gesels en sy insigte met ons daaroor deel. Vanoggend gesels ek met die sosiale media kenner Tonja Koerie. Sy het al 'n slag of wat hier op Stroom op gesels en sy gaan so 'n bietjie met ons gesels oor hierdie jaar se grootste stories. Wat het op sosiale media getrend? Wat is die grootste stories wat getrend het die afgelope jaar hier op en hier sien ek net, sy sê, ek het vergeet om vir haar link te stuur, so ek gaan gou vir haar dit stuur. Daar is sy, wag, Tonja, yes, daar kom hy Tonja. Copy invite link, en ons sit hom gou vir haar hier in. Chakara! Daar kry sy haar skakel, so sy gaan nou hier in die ateljee instap. Yf Veldhuizen, daar uit Cool Pretoria. Ek was gister vinnig in Pretoria gewees vir ontmoeting daar. En ek moet sê, dit was heel wat koeler in Pretoria as hier in Nelspruit, maar vanoggend lyk Nelspruit wonderlik man, is oortrokke. Dit reën saggies, doch nie deurdringend nie. Maar dit reën, dis lekker, dis heerlik. Môre aan almal wat vanoggend gesels. Gerard Byleveld wat wil weet of ons vir Friskie Mariski môre gaan langer tyd gee. Ek het vir jou slegte nuus, Gerard. Friskie Mariski is nie môre op nie. Ons gesels eers weer volgende jaar met haar. Nee, die mense maak klaar nou. Hulle maak winkels toe, jong. Hulle wil gaan vakansie hou. Kyk, haar so tot Tonja Curie is in 'n verskriklike vakansie by. Good morning to you.
Morning. It's like, well, I'm in Setswana. What do you expect?
Yeah, no, I just wanted to say, it must be something to do with the fact that you are permanently in Setswana. How
Permanently in
privileged
Setswana.
can you be?
And I'm telling you, and now because Mozambique's borders are shut, everybody's pulled in, Shana. You can't even walk out there. It's like, ah.
Listen,
but it's packed.
I've seen on Facebook that you made a couple of posts from Setswana. Are you living there now, or really?
Yeah, I've been living here for almost 8 years now, Isak. I didn't tell anyone because they might think I don't do any work, but I do. Just with a view.
Can you believe? I didn't know that. I thought you were just going there permanently for holiday.
You check, I got you too. I've got a lot of my clients like that too. Now the secret's out. Now I've been living here for 8 years. I'm an avid diver. So moving here was really, it's been a dream of mine for like 20, 30 years, so I finally made it.
Listen, and what have you heard about John? Is there any news yet?
Well, definitely one of the big stories this year. Terribly tragic. John's brother died day before yesterday in a motorbike accident. So Cherie, John's sister, lost her mother, John, and now her brother in 1 year. She is absolutely devastated. I went to Matambu's funeral. It was so sad. It's like, they walked in carrying the remains of the boat. Oh my God. It was awful. Absolutely awful.
Really?
But the time's never been the same again. We have very special people in Setswana, and when we lose one of our own, like, the town never recovers. We only make our way around that hole, So Matambu's brother came down a few days ago, and freak accident on a motorbike, and he is no longer with us. And so Cherie is left without another special soul in her Christmas at her Christmas table. So that is absolutely awful news. But Setswana itself, guys, you'll love to know that it is shining. It is so hot. The water is like a bath. There are people up the strand. Yes, they're going all the way to Mozambique, even if they couldn't get there.
Listen, so the fact that people can't go to Mozambique is benefiting Setswana now.
No, Setswana is so happy, man. Sorry, Mozambique.
but it's a good thing for Setswana, isn't it? Because Setswana came down a bit, not in terms of a nice place to go, but in terms of people didn't go. Remember?
Well, I mean, Mozambique was just easier for
in
people.
Those other days, people flocked to Setswana, but now
it
became quiet.
And the reason is because, Mozambique, you can drive on the beach and you can drink on the beach and all that. And here in Setswana, it's a sanctuary, so all those rules apply. So I think there are pros and cons to Setswana, but if you're a fisherman or a diver, there's no choice, in my opinion.
I want to tell you, and I'm actually scared to do it. I've never been to Setswana. I really want to go. I'm not that far from there. From Nelspruit, it's not that far, isn't it?
No, it's not. Well, 17 or so hours. Unless you go through Swaziland.
Yeah, you can go through Swazi.
If you
People
go
tell
through
me,
Swaziland, no, about
people
7,
tell me
7, 8
Swaziland
hours.
is a lovely place to go to.
It's beautiful, but boring, but very beautiful. Like, if you like rolling hills, yeah, you're going to love it.
And someone told me they've got a lovely old colonial style. Even
Really? No,
in
I didn't
Kant.
see that. I must be honest, I stayed overnight on my drive through and I was like, it's enough for me. Next time I'll just keep driving.
Okay. So, but no news about the suspect
Ferdy
in the
Visser.
John Matambu story.
There's a lot of news. So Ferdy Visser escaped prison again after the
Mm.
nation found him, put him in jail. He escaped prison yet again during a transfer, apparently, and that was now 2 months ago. We haven't found him. So I don't know. I don't know if Ferdy Visser seems like a hell of a character. I mean, I think there's a documentary being made about this story because it's just so strange, isn't it? Coming all the way from Komatipoort, which is on the
Mm.
border of Mozambique, to Sudwana to get to Mozambique. Just doesn't make sense to
I
me.
think I must come to Sudwana and make a story about that for Nuuspot.
Oh, I love that idea. And the family would be very grateful. I can tell you that. But yeah, for now, I mean, what's happening?
I'll tell you what. I'm gonna come there the first week of January.
Are you?
Yes, I'm gonna come and make a story about John Matambu and Ferdy Visser.
That sounds fantastic, Isak. And I've got some amazing places in Sudwana, but hey, I don't know if you're going to get in anywhere, John. And my house is a bit full, but I don't know where you're going to sleep. But if you don't mind a tent,
I'll sleep in my car.
oh, really?
Yeah, I've
That's
I've
a
been
journalist for you.
I've been sleeping in my bakkie for many months.
I'm sure we'll find you a
When I
good
started Nuuspot, so no, I can sleep in my car.
spot. Lekker. No, look, let's that would be fantastic. Let me see if I can offline we'll talk about Cherie and that if we could get her to speak to you as well, because she knows so much. The case has actually been handled now by Harry Nell. He's
Okay.
actually
Yeah,
handling.
that's right.
Yeah,
Read
yeah, yeah.
about.
And pro bono, hey, what a nice guy. Like pro
Yeah.
bono without any cost. But yeah, the NPA just released him not once, twice now. And like I said, there's something weird about this oak. The story doesn't make sense. And I'm sure, you know, for John also, like what a story. Wow. You know?
Listen, I'm gonna come back to us now with the rest of your stories. Just hold on. We're gonna say thank you to one of our sponsors. Within the next 30 seconds, we talk again. What is happening here now? There it goes. Dankie aan die beste restaurant in die wêreld wat Nuuspot ondersteun. As jy in Nelspruit kom, don't give it a miss. Ek beloof vir jou. Dit is wyd lekker. Tonya, what's other big stories on your list this morning? What
Wow. Well, I did a diary of a media monitor. You know, I do this all year, Isak, is I go and read all the big stories and sum them up every Friday for my sins. And I've been doing it for 10 years. This is my 10th diary of a media monitor. And what a bumper year. I mean, I've managed to get it down to like 6 pages. It was 239. I didn't think anybody was going to read it. But probably the biggest story of the year, if you had to ask me for the single biggest story of 2024, I'd say the Springboks. They won everything, didn't they? They won it. They kissed those trophies, put them in cabinets, and went and fetched another one. They were like a conveyor belt. So the Springboks definitely made the biggest burst at any one moment in South African media. And then if you had to ask me what the collective biggest story, so what story kept growing over the year that just kept growing, that would have to be the elections and the GNU, eh? The GNU, like, can you believe it's working? Ha!
It actually sort of is, eh?
It is, hey, in a weird way.
It's not nice
actually
to admit it.
They're keeping eyes on each other, and this Tsotsi is checking that Tsotsi out. So, yeah, like I got a kudos to Rama. I mean, I'm not a big Ramaphosa fan, but kudos, it actually worked. I think. But yeah, so the GNU was the biggest collective story. But if you had to ask me the most enduring story all year, and probably for the past 10 years, it's Jacob Chana. Yo, Zuma can kill me. I'm sure I'm going to go to the ground, still talking about Jacob Zuma, honestly. 10 years, he's still my top story? Is that, come on.
You cannot believe that. He's got a way of just coming back.
Yeah, and actually, if we're honest, we've been talking about this even before 2008.
Yeah.
So it's like good 15, 20 years we've been hopping on about Zuma. I mean, come on. Anyway, so he was also very prevalent. There was a lot of other stories that kept our attention over the year and definitely worth mentioning. I mean, one of them is Jocelyn Smith, that story of that girl, the pretty green eyes, that Gayton interviewed. To be fair to Gayton and to the audience, Jocelyn was really the awakening to Gayton. People started to understand who this politician was. And I mean, Gayton was our great surprise, wasn't he? I mean, he was losing weight all year, and he was being accountable, and he was cancelling super fans and jumping in pictures, and yeah, he's kept us entertained, old Gayton. So there's another one for the top pile. And
he was a story on his own.
Oh, he was absolutely. He absolutely was. He still is. But still today, sorry to say, but Jocelyn's still missing. That catapult didn't work, and it's not a good thing. And then, of course, we saw Jooste killed himself. Apparently, we forgot about that. We forgot about that, right? He killed himself. We still don't know if he did really, but that's what we're told. And then we had the changes in government with the GNU. I mean, that was hysterical. I mean, Steenhuisen taking over agriculture, like him and he's now tractors. That's great. And we had, Groenewald take over the head of correctional services. Shia, that worked like anything. And then, a whole bunch of new people like Klabisi, the head of the IFP, came into Kokta. And Razim Zanzi Songezo Zibi, he came into Scopa, which is very interesting. And then we had Helen Zilla running around and fighting with Mbux, Fikile and Balula. The two of them knocked heads almost all year. So it was that. And then we saw, from a political standpoint, now we'll get off the politics eventually, the political standpoint was the demise of the EFF. We saw Julius Malema's party collapse right in front of our eyes.
And royally so, huh?
Sure, with such a grand exit.
Yeah.
It's planned.
It's just like melting.
It's very strange, isn't it? It's very strange how all of a sudden, and where's Ndlozi? We're all waiting to see what happens with him and nothing.
But what intrigues me about this story is, at first I thought this was the logical conclusion, having had socialism all over the world melting down.
Yes.
So I thought, okay, but this was due to happen. But now an interesting thing is making that theory of mine null and void, because MK is all of a sudden looking like they coming up, and they even worse than Julius.
They're far worse. Did you see that you could pay, is it $2 million to sit at the table with Zuma?
Yes, 2
You
million.
saw that? And the
Yes.
table was full. It's just crazy. Like, I just don't understand how all these crooks, like, it's almost like Zuma opened like a jailhouse rock, you know?
Yeah.
Like, all of a sudden, everybody in EFF who ever had a problem with the law just vomit to Zuma, you know? And it was like, it's like a hive of criminals.
Yes.
Anyway, like, so here we are again. So much for a step aside rule that people aren't allowed to be in parliament. Here's the whole of MK is like a lineup at a police station.
Yes, yeah. They can all stand.
Yeah, they're the usual
Identification
suspects. They
parade.
honestly are.
So
And then
which suspect do you see? Who was it? Was it number 6? It
yeah,
was all of them.
exactly. But you know who's not there? And this to me is the funniest, is that Julius is left with Khaki Carl Niehaus. The original toy MK member is now still with the EFF. How does that work, guys? That's just comedy in absolute news. That is comedy. Gold.
Yeah, no, it's but it is worrying, the rise of MK. I'm
Very, very much so. Very
I'm I'm,
much
I'm
so. And
watching this with you should be
should be nervous, eh?
aware.
Yeah. But who will take, like, I'm sorry to, I know it's time on radio, but like, let's speculate for a minute. Who's going to take over from Jacob? Is it going to be Duduzane?
Yeah, that's actually yeah. Who's gonna lead the party?
Yeah.
And will that the question will then be, will that person have the personality? Because this thing is built around the personality of Jacob Zuma.
And Floyd Chavambo is not Zulu.
No, and
So, you know,
he's
Zuma's
not
very
Jacob
much
Zuma.
Zulu. Yeah. Now what, is Floyd going to go up and start doing Mshiniwami? I don't think so. It's interesting. It's going to be interesting times. I'm very glad that the year is over, I must be honest with you. But let's talk about something cheerful for a minute. Drickus du Plessis. Wasn't he fantastic?
Yeah, that was
was
also a great year for him, ne?
Yeah, it was amazing. Hulle weet nie wat ons weet nie became a massive South African slogan along with No DNA, just RSA. That was a really big story over the year. At the same time, I suppose you could say that the comeback from Tyson and Jake Paul was something also to watch. I mean, that fight was rigged for sure. Tyson had that fight. Come on.
You know what is interesting for me about this story about Driekus is
Yeah.
We are all behind him and we are supporting
Yes.
him, but it's it's very strange to me because I don't like the sport.
That's it.
I'm actually cringing a little bit and thinking, are we really making this a sport of national
pride.
importance where
Yes.
two people are beating the hell out of each other? They don't even have gloves, and when they have you down, it's not like, oh, I've won. You jump on that guy and then you start beating.
Yeah. Then you only start the fight.
So,
But yeah, it's become a staple now.
I'm thinking a lot about this and our collective mentality. What
I'm
is
not so worried.
happening there? Because you are not supposed to criticize this. I mean, this is a thing of national importance. But somewhere we have to tell each other what are we doing here?
But what are we doing, Oaks and his antler?
And then with that, together with that, is another rising sport. Is this slap competition?
What is that? What's wrong with us?
So now it's a dilemma for me because I want to support Driekus, and I think this is a very devoted young man.
Yes.
And you can see when you
And he's
speak
fit and it's like, yeah, but still
to
you
him,
are
he's a good young man with good values.
yes.
But this sport is daar's
It's
net
crazy.
teenstrydig in hierdie ding wat vir my mal maak. Ek weet nie wat om daarvan te dink nie. I want to support Driekus, but ek cringe elke keer as daai ouens aan mekaar sê. You know what, when they fight and one of them is grabbing each other and I can feel how my body tightens up.
Oh, I'm with you. I'm with you.
But yeah, big story. And please don't understand me wrong. Ek het 'n groot bewondering vir Driekus Du Plessis en sy toewyding in die sport. Dis maar sommer hier in my persoonlike menswees wat ek wonder, maar mag 'n mens soos 'n Romeinse skare om hierdie ring sit en breek sy bene.
What's wrong with us, Strickland? What's wrong with us?
Shouldn't we
Really?
Shouldn't we all start diving, man?
Yeah, just breathe, dive, and don't touch anybody or anything for that matter.
And leave the fish alone.
Exactly.
Let's go
But
on.
I've got more for you. I mean, what about Miss South Africa?
Just hold on before you do that.
Oh.
Let's go just again to the sponsors. I'm gonna come back to you just now. Hou vas jou matras. Hier kom ons. Ek moet nou daai ouetjie kry. En ons gaan nou hierdie ouens. Dankie Sief.
Ek jou weer vergeet om die water en olie te check.
Ja, my vrou.
Maar moenie worry nie. Pilums Recovery tot ons redding.
Vir 'n spoedige, betroubare diens, 24 uur 7 dae 'n week, skakel ons gerus op 060 812 1260.
En dit is ek wil hom net right. Nee, nou ja, daar's ek en jy nou terug. Tonya, you know, this is a very new advertiser on Nuuspot. They're from Emalahleni or Witbank, like the Boere still calls it. And they started doing their own videos.
I thought it was hysterical.
I enjoy it so much. Every week they come up with something new and they go through so much trouble making this.
I love it.
So they must love
I love
you.
it. Almost as if it's like they looked at traditional agencies and they went, nah, we can do better than that. I love it. Love it.
And they use their own people working there at the company. So
Fantastic.
It's really
how refreshing.
Say again?
So refreshing.
Yes. Yeah, no, it's I enjoy it. I must say kudos to Films Recovery. Yeah. Tonya, other stories that made the list?
Miss South Africa, my goodness, how was that? We had an imposter. Miss Chidima was her name. She was actually Miss Nigeria Universe, or Miss Universe Nigeria was her end title. But she was in Miss South Africa, and we found out she wasn't a South African, so we hoofed her, and she ended up going back to Nigeria. And when she was in Nigeria, she entered Nigeria Miss Universe, and South Africans, and you could vote. So South Africans to take back their pride or whatever it was, they then voted for quite a hefty check. Not the prettiest girl in the bunch, to take the lead. And she almost won it. I mean, she loves South Africa. So, and then, of course, because she was kicked out, Chidima, we replaced her with Mia LaRue, who's a deaf contestant. So that's our first deaf Miss South Africa. And if you thought pageantry was dead, it's like you are wrong. Completely wrong. It was so talked about. It was definitely made one of the top stories this year. Crazy.
Really?
Yeah. For sure.
Yes. Can you believe that?
Can you believe it? And then, I mean, the Olympics. Yeah, Yamal. I mean, firstly, that opening ceremony was just unbelievable. Like, I think most people were horrified. People hated wokeness after that. It was clickbaity, and it deserved the hate. But there were some good things that came out of the Olympics.
I want to ask you about that, because now there's that big debate about it, and then people that are positive about the opening is so sort of dismissive and holier than thou when they say
Yeah,
that you
man.
mustn't understand it like this, and you must understand, and criticizing people that is unhappy about it. How do you think about it?
Well, I mean, firstly, it was a depiction of the Last Supper, the Michelangelo's Last Supper. So there is that. So you, as the Olympics, went there before we even got there. You know, you started with a religious background. And then you came in and you chucked a bunch of transvestites and transsexual people. Some of them had their bits hanging out, while there were children at the table. It was revolting.
It shouldn't be a subject entertained at
No.
an event like that, isn't it?
No, man. The Olympics is not about the Last Supper, number one, at all. Like, it's a collection of the best of humankind in the sporting world. Like, where on earth do you go from there to transgender and Last Supper? It was a ridiculous stretch. And then they romanticized Marie Antoinette, and like it was pitiful. And then the closing ceremony for me also was, I just found it grillerig, like for me, like, why would you go there? They then also went with the last horseman of the apocalypse and all that. Hoekom? Why? It's got nothing to do with sport. Show a little bit of class, It's a it's an honor for people to be at the Olympics, and to showcase their talent. And you've made diminish that honor. So I was very irritated, but there were some pearlers. I mean, do you remember that oak from Turkey who took a gun out and like shot a perfect round with his hand in his pocket? Do you remember that?
Yeah.
He was great.
That's very cool, huh?
He was so cool, Jana. He was the coolest of cool. One hand in the pocket, one eye closed, and he just
I wonder how he would have fared in a John Wayne movie.
Yeah. Brilliantly. Just don't put Alec Baldwin on set with him. And then we had Ray Gunn. Talking about guns, we had Ray Gunn. Do you remember that? I can't remember her full name now. What is her proper name? Anyway, she's an Australian chick, and she entered the breakdancing category at the Olympics. I mean, come on. Why is there even a breakdancing category is what I want to know. And secondly, like, did you see her performance? I mean, she was jumping around like a bloody kangaroo. She was up and down and turned herself inside out. Anyway, she made a right mess of it. And Australia were furious when she came home. So that kept me entertained. And then the weather tried to kill us. Jeez, the weather has been crazy, not only here, but overseas. I mean, we had snow when we shouldn't have had snow, typhoons, tornadoes, cyclones. Like, I don't even know what else. We had a lot. But, yeah, so climate change is definitely real, guys. And thank you to Gift of the Givers who keep saving us. And then, yeah, yes, now we got to get there. Israel and Russia. Those stories dominated the whole year.
Sit tight in your chair.
Sit tight in your chair. Like, the Israel Palestine stories were just too horrific. Like, I don't think any of us could stomach it. We saw enough children mutilated in the past year. It's been absolutely revolting. But then, of course, we saw the war escalate and Israel start moving into Syria, Yemen, Lebanon, Iran, all sorts of places. And like as we stand here today, I think this week, 380 bombs were dropped on Syria by Israel. Netanyahu now claiming that war was started by Turkey, which I don't know about that. I don't know about you. I heard Russia was there, but I didn't know about Turkey. So Erdogan in Turkey certainly sitting upright and saying, excuse me. And also Trump saying yesterday, and we're going to get to Trump, Trump saying yesterday that Jordan is the next big enemy. Now, Jordan has been a buffer, if you like, between Israel and Lebanon, because the country lies just wedged in between them. And has been an ally to Israel the whole time. And now all of a sudden, apparently they're enemy number one. So we'll see what will happen to Jordan. I really hope that Jordan's going to be fine. It's one of the most beautiful countries in the world, and a very special country. So very scary what's happening over there. I was meant to go over that side, and that was all cancelled. I was also meant to go to Mozambique. You check. When Tanya books a holiday, run. That's what happens when you book a holiday.
Actually, once.
Right, and then Putin.
No, I just wanted to say I'm praying for a solution there, whichever way. I'm tired of having to choose sides now. The whole thing is just terrible. It doesn't matter from which side you are looking at it. There should come a solution, man. It's
I mean, we can't be watching a genocide live on TV. We can't. I mean, what is wrong with us? There is something so wrong with us as humans that we can watch the most mutilated children under the age of 4 in the history of the world and be okay with it. It's not okay.
But I'm at a point where I blame both parties.
No, there's no two parties. Sorry, Isak. Jammer. Maar jy het met die verkeerde mens gepraat hoor. Sorry, not yet. I don't buy that rhetoric. Yeah, sorry, my friend. Now, there's only one side. An occupation that took place from 1968. This has not happened on October 7th, was not in isolation, and we know that. South Africa knows that. We are one of the few countries that actually do know that. And that's why we took on the ICJ, and that's why we won, because we really do know what we're talking about. And we're not America, where they're so blinded and blinkered. We can see what you just have to scroll on your Instagram timeline. Come on, it's not hard to work out.
I'm waiting for the comments.
Yeah, well, they can come. Okay, yeah, this is what I say. Let's hear what you have to say. I've got a little poem for you. Let's cheer the audience up. Are you ready?
Yes.
We had more courtroom TV than Judge Judy. There's a lot of anger, especially when we talk about a pastor with a panga. Senzo Tabo, aka Maleba, and farm killers. Liebenberg was absurd. 2024, shove it in the bottom drawer.
Did Liebenberg make the list?
He made it.
Because
your story, my friend. Your story.
I was wondering about it. Because measured by the attendance of television crews and so on, it was quite a big story.
Yeah, it was a big story. I mean, how many people got nailed by that oak?
Yeah,
like, seriously. And of course, remember his links to Zuma. We know who Liebenberg is. So we're watching him not for those diamond stories. We're watching him to see what you did because of what you did.
4 billion rand.
Yeah.
But Louis say it's not true. It's 5 billion. It's 5 billion, he says. He says, no, you have your facts wrong. 5 billion, not 4 billion.
And then, of course, like, what would the year have been without Trumpy Wampy? Where was that? Dun, 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 dun. We made it to the trumpet. So it was a tsunami. It was the Trump tsunami, China. They thought that it was a close race. South Africa was sitting going, Trump's got this. But America was still like, oh, it's neck and neck. No, it wasn't neck and neck, guys. It was a landslide. Trump won, hands down.
I had a very interesting conversation with my lady friend, and she said the following, which I thought was quite insightful.
Yes.
She said that you know what, actually, and no one actually that I know have looked at this point before. You know what? Trump is now, he can now do plain sailing because he's open to the world. There's nothing that's hidden anymore. He can stand in front of the world and say, you know everything.
We do.
So here I am. Take me as I am.
Yes.
And maybe this opens the door for something amazing the next 4 years.
I really hope so. I mean, I know he's not, I know he's a very anti-Palestine, anti-Lebanon person. So, I mean, there I don't expect anything but disaster. But I do expect the war in Russia to end immediately. I expect it to end straight away. Like if from what I've understood of Trump's conversations and his pitches to the world, like that war shouldn't, and we know it shouldn't be happening. It's a one-sided war. And it's just a place to feed arms into, you know. So I think he may very well stop that war. I see he's already raised a lot of taxes. Like, I used to hate the oak, okay? But I'm not anti-Trump anymore. I'm not. Like, I mean, there's some things I certainly don't agree with about him and some things that I certainly do agree with. But one thing's for sure, he was the better opponent by far. I mean, Kamala already had 4 years. You know, people forget that. They say, that she ran against Kamala. No, Kamala was the incumbent. Don't tell me Joe Biden was running that country. I mean, Joe didn't know which stage he was on. You know, how many times did that guy walk into the bushes? At one point, Joe Biden told us he was Mrs. Biden.
Yeah, crazy.
So, I mean, I think that Trump's landslide or tsunami was literally it was coming. I mean, we had all sorts. We had his assassination attempt where people wore patches on their ears. We had he was working at McDonald's, and then he had that they're eating the cats, they're eating the dogs, they're eating the pets. That was a very big story across the world. And then of course his buddy, his bromance with Elon Musk and him are like two peas in a pod with his dark bagger cap. And I'm not a big Elon fan. What about you?
I don't have a strong opinion about him. I've got nothing against him. I admire what he has done with, you know, hoe sê mens, I'm trying with my best Free State English to explain
but your English is much better than my Afrikaans, man.
So, ek het nie 'n mening oor hom wat ek tot die dood toe sal verdedig nie, maar ek bewonder dit wat hy bereik het. It's not a small feat.
No, he's achieved a lot. But I think he's quite a dangerous man, to be honest with you. He's got a very big ego. But I think him and Trump together, they make a great team. Well, when you start planting chips into people's brains, yeah, man. Then I'm like out. I'm already out. And then you want to go jump around on Mars, like, come on. And then you're saying, oh, well, I could stop food.
The Matrix sequel.
Yes. I'm telling you. Talking about sequels, Baby Reindeer. That was one of the biggest movies that came out of 2024. That was a scary thing. Did you watch it?
The series, Baby Reindeer. Yes,
Yeah.
yes, I have
It was
watched it.
hectic.
And-
Yeah, that came out. We had Barbie and Oppenheimer out at the same time, and Barbie and Oppenheimer went up for academies. I mean, that is just crazy. From sublime to the absolute ridiculous. And of course, what we did was we were looking for predators, and we missed the real predator in the room, and that's Harvey Weinstein. He got his charges overturned. Sorry, how did it happen? We're still waiting for Epstein's list. Never came out. And we've forgotten about it already. And then MasterChef. Did you see MasterChef? That ended up being a real predator.
I didn't.
And then the biggest is P. Diddy. I mean, oh my Himmel, what the hell is going on there with P. Diddy? But I mean, that story just keeps, it's the gift that really does keep on giving. So, yeah, I think, look, we had other stories. Tyler did really well. From a musical perspective, she really brought it home for South Africa. Oasis reunited, if you care. And then, we had that big loss in South Africa. Praveen Gordhan died. I have mixed feelings on Praveen Gordhan. I think I've called him in my column a good man turned complicit. And I think that's probably a fair assessment, because he was a really good man, Praveen. But he didn't did he? So his death was this year. No water across South Africa. And then, we had the food poisonings and Stilfontein to India. And of course, in there somewhere is Sudan and Mpox and Imran Khan being arrested and Julian Assange being released. And that's it. Drive sober, everybody. That's my 2 words for you.
Just
Drive
before we
sober.
greet, just one more sponsor, and then we do the greet. Vredebest packaging, nog een van Nuuspot se borge die afgelope jaar, adverteerders. Baie dankie vir elkeen van julle se loyale ondersteuning aan Nuuspot die kanaal die afgelope jaar. Dit is regtig groot voorreg om verbind te wees met die mense met wie ons op die oomblik verbind is. Dan natuurlik ook Brentest Wealth en Drive. Dan is daar ook AfriForum, Nexa Webdesign as jy wil webtuistes ontwerp, Powergate Training en Paceplan, as ook Hurter Spies prokureurs. Is almal mense wat hulle name met Nuuspot vereenselwig, en dis 'n geweldige groot voorreg om dit te kan sê, en Fines for You natuurlik. Baie dankie vir elkeen van julle. Tonya, it was very nice talking to you. Just in my best Vrystaat English, and then seen that some people are cringing here because you said some things that goes to against their core, maar onthou nou net hier op Nuuspot nou. No, you don't have to feel bad. Onthou net op Nuuspot, nee. En ek sê dit altyd, so ek sê dit net weer vanmôre. Hier op Nuuspot entertain ons nie net mense wat dink soos jy dink nie. Ons gesels met die hele wêreld. Want dis al 'n manier hoe jy 'n groter verstaan van die wêreld kan kry. As jy nou regtig in jou kokonnetjie wil gaan sit en daar gestak raak, dan moet jy nie Nuuspot kyk nie. Dis nie die plek vir jou nie. Nuuspot wys vir jou die wêreld en verskillende mense se denke daaroor. So Tonya, it was a pleasure as always talking to you. I really enjoyed it, and
I hope I didn't lose my job.
Yeah. I'm gonna start making plans now for that visit to Sudwana.
Lekker, man. We'll talk about it. That'll be lekker. Let me see if you can find you a campsite.
Thank you so much for
Thanks,
your
Isak.
time.
Happy Christmas, everybody. Happy New Year, and all the best. Drive sober.
Dit bring ons aan die einde van vanoggend se program en ons gaan môre sluit ons die jaar af met Dawie Rood wat vir ons 'n bietjie gaan gesels oor die jaar se dinge en wat hy sien gebeur het in die jaar. En dan gaan ons Kersfees hou en bietjie ou jaar en nuwe jaar en dik steaks braai, wille whiskies vat, brawe brandewyne, sawe wyne en net 'n bietjie chill om dan volgende jaar weer hierdie freaking resies te kom hardloop. Soms raak hy te vinnig vir my. Groetnis, alle heil en seën. Steek hom stinkie. Ons praat môre verder met mekaar.